All right, in the Iron Asylum with Ryan Watson, NPC super heavyweight national level competitor. This is John Hanson. We're at the Powerhouse Gym. How you doing, Ryan?
What's up, John? How are you, man?
All right, we're here for your leg workout, Ryan. Man, you were in great shape for this video. I think you said you were about 275, very lean condition. Tell us a little bit about what you did in 2012. I know you didn't compete, focusing a little bit more on your business. What's the plan now for 2013?
Well, actually, I did compete in one show at the end of 2012. I had no intentions of actually competing, but basically, I just got in shape to go out and watch the Olympia there, and later in the year, and watch some friends compete in Olympia, and so I got in shape for that. And so a couple of my clients kind of convinced me to just hold on to my conditioning for another 5 weeks and do a show. And I said, "What the heck?" So I came back from vacation after partying and living it up, and whatnot, and 5 weeks later, man, I stepped on stage. Obviously it wasn't enough time to, properly, prepare for a bodybuilding show of a national qualifier. But still, I placed second, and got myself qualified, so I can have a good year coming up in 2013. My intentions as of right now are to do the North Americans in September, and then finish it up with nationals in November. So,
okay,
that's what's on the map for me right now.
Now, I noticed during your leg workout here, I'm sure you're a former football player, and I'm sure you've done a lot of heavy lifting in your time. But for this particular workout, you went a little bit lighter. As we'll see a little bit later in the video, you're doing a lot of supersets and even trisets. What's your philosophy on that, as far as training your legs with the different types of loads?
Well, basically, John, like I definitely, if you've seen some of my other leg training videos from back when I was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was going extremely heavy, and just now my approach has changed. I'm dealing with a few injuries, with the knee and possible herniation in my back, so I've got to really modify my training in order for me to stay in the game. And so I'm just trying to outsmart the injuries, instead of just going real ballistic and heavy. But I find that doing like a lot of the giant sets, supersets, and whatnot, really adds to my conditioning and adds to actually bringing out a lot more detail and shape into my muscles, not just size. I mean, I've got the size, I've had it for a while, especially my legs here. But it's always nice. You can never have enough detail, and I just find that the giant sets obviously really save my joints. I don't have to go half as heavy, but the pumps are incredible, and I just feel like my body responds extremely well to it, So the rest of the week, my back's not killing me, my knees aren't killing me and whatnot, and like I said, I'm just kind of dinged up right now, so I've had to train different ways. So but my body's just still responding to it. I love it. I find that actually I get a cardiovascular benefit out of it as well. So it helps me stay lean and stay tight.
And I would think once you already got the size and you got a certain amount of size and strength like you do, doing this different types of training is probably going to add even more to it, because of the volume, right?
Yeah, not only the volume, but it's just like the intensity and just like the lack of rest. During your set and between sets, cause your body to recruit like a lot different of a muscle fiber. Your type 2Bs versus your type 2As. So when you're always doing a set and recovering, like taking a minute or two to recover and doing another set, you're not really getting a lot of deep muscle fibers, and those are the ones that are responsible for the most muscle growth. So you need to change up your training mentality once in a while, and you can't always train and rest. You sometimes sometimes I'll call it like the 15-minute berserk, and I'll just pick out 5 exercises and see how quickly I can get them all done. And I can't tell you how sore I am the next day after doing something like that. I don't do it like that all the time, but I've been doing a lot more frequently lately, and my body's getting great response from it. I'm staying lean and tight from it. I don't really even care about my strength levels at all. And as you can see from this video, compared to like some of my videos in the past, like my training has radically changed from like deep like regular barbell squats to a lot more of like this particular exercise is like I considered a hack squat on the hammer strength V squat machine. It's just extremely easy on my lower back. I feel all the tension placed right on my quads, so like no real pain in my knees, my back. you know, and so I'm able to really effectively target these larger muscle groups, you know, without getting a lot of the other stuff, you know, thrown in the mix.
Right.
And like I said, it's just keeping adding the detail to my legs, you know. So
Yeah. Now this is we're in the middle of a tri-set here. You're doing you did barbell lunges first, and then you're doing the squats there on that machine, and then you go right over to the leg press. And what I was really impressed with when I was watching you do this, you did about 3 or 4 of these tri-sets, and every cycle you did, you were increasing the weight. Like you're starting off here with leg press, but we go a little bit later in the video, you can see you go even heavier with the weight, and you must have been doing about 15 reps for each exercise, right?
yeah, you know, I tried to start out my first giant set with about 20 reps.
Okay.
And then so each, you know, time I come through, I'll actually add a little bit more weight and I'll decrease the repetitions. So yeah, I am doing, you know, a traditional giant set, or, you know, supersetting, as you will, but, you know, I'm still increasing the load and I'm decreasing the reps. I'm still almost going to failure pretty much on every set, you know, every exercise. So, you know, I'm just trying to really annihilate the legs. Maybe the last set, all my reps might be like 6, whereas the first set I did, that was all 20. You know, so I'm just trying to hit a different range. You know, and they're different, stimulate different kind of fibers. You know, but keeping the intensity up. You know, always training to kind of full failure, full fatigue.
Right.
You know, I'm starting out. I'm kind of pre-exhausting here with a compound movement, some lunges here, coming off the little step, giving you that little pitch on your back leg, your trail leg. It's actually going to give you a lot more of a stretch at the bottom. That extra, you know, 5 inches of a stretch at the bottom is going to really heavily recruit the glutes.
Okay.
And it's going to cause my quads to have to contract a lot harder to get me out of the bottom of the movement. So, you know, it's all around. I find it to be a lot better. You don't have to go as heavy. So you're getting more stretch, and you're placing the muscle at more of a muscular disadvantage. So it's got to fire a lot harder to kick you back up there. So
okay, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to ask you.
These have become one of my favorite you know, alternatives to just normal lunges, and you know, they just seem to work well for me. So.
Now, being a tall guy, Ryan, were legs always hard for you to develop? Because I know a lot of tall guys, they have sort of thin legs, and it's a hard body for them to develop.
Well, you know, I think that I was actually born with pretty big legs. I think my mom told me, like, when I popped out, the doctor there delivering him said that I was destined to be a football player. You know, so my legs have always been good size. You know, and especially from you know, doing takeoffs as a defensive lineman, coming out of my stance.
Yeah, that's
using a lot of legs and hip and glutes. So, you know, my legs have always been in condition, but I love to train them hard. You know, like train them hard, and over the years I've trained them really heavy, and I've taken tremendous pride in being that guy that's got a, you know, good set of legs. And you know, everybody always tries to use height as a crutch, but I, you know, like, you know, I look at other guys like Tony Freeman and Dennis Wolf, some of these other guys that are you know, over 6 foot, 6'2", and they all have tremendous legs. So
right.
you know, it's all relative, it's all ratio. You know that you know. Height, yes, it can be a disadvantage to some guys, but I think everybody's structure is a little bit different, and, you know, having a smart training mentality, you can actually, you know, figure your body out and, you know, train through it.
Right, right. Now, when you said you went heavy in the past, how heavy did you go, like with squats and lunges and stuff?
I mean, I've definitely done some sets, you know, above 700 before.
Wow.
On squats.
Okay.
I've lunged 365. I got it on video. You know, some walking dumbbell lunges, 125. I have a video of it all on YouTube. So, I mean, you know, I find that my legs are growing even better and looking better now when I'm training lighter and increasing the volume and not resting hardly at all. You know.
Yeah.
And I still, you know, some people swear by reps, you know, of like, you know, 20 for legs, and other guys swear by nothing but like 3s and triples and maybe 6s, but I'm a firm believer in mixing it always up. You know, I like to, you know, do a little bit of everything. So
right, right. Yeah, I noticed. I mean, like, this wasn't a light workout at all, and the intensity was super high because you were doing all those trisets and stuff nonstop for high reps.
Yeah, man, I think I got pretty bad ADD, so you know, I don't like to sit around and rest, and I know a lot of bodybuilders like to, you know, do a set and rest, and
right.
You know, I don't know, I think it's, you know, maybe part ADD, part like my football mentality, but I always like to you know, stay moving. You know, I like to sweat while I train. You know, and you know, it just I don't know, I feel like it helps add, you know, a bit of conditioning to the muscles, and you know, just keep moving so actually nobody talks to you and gets you out of your zone. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just I haven't always trained like this, but over like the last year, I've really picked up my pace, picked up my tempo, and you know, I found after doing, you know, giant sets, you know, that my body just like really adapted well to them. So.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about that one exercise you just did. That was for the hamstrings.
Yes.
You sort of set it up for yourself at the gym here. You anchored your feet under like a lat pull down, the pads, and you put another flat bench right where your knees were.
Correct.
And then you were just sort of going like a really slow negative and then pushing your way up. What's that for? I mean, obviously it's a hamstring exercise, but what's the benefit of that?
Yeah, okay, so that particular exercise, John, is called a glute ham hyper, as you know. And basically, I wanted to demonstrate that exercise using a couple pieces of equipment that I believe should be in every single gym, which is obviously a bench and a lat pull-down machine. Now, at Powerhouse in downtown Tampa, we're obviously blessed to have like two, you can see right there in the background, that red machine.
Right.
We have two glute ham hyper machines, okay? Those are extremely effective exercises for the for the hamstring and glute tie-in and whatnot. But most gyms don't have those pieces of equipment. It's mostly catered more towards athletes and whatnot. So
right.
I wanted to demonstrate that exercise so you can do it at your own gym. Whoever's watching this can set that up at their own gym, and basically making sure your knees are stable and then tracking in line with your ankles. I like to focus on that eccentric phase, that negative phase of the movement, and that's causing a lot of muscular damage to the hamstrings on the way down.
Right.
So you'll see I'll get myself set here, make sure my ankles underneath the pads, keeping a straight line from your knees to your hips to your shoulders. So trying to keep your body in a straight line and just fight that negative on the way down. And then you're going to use those hamstrings to really try to contract to pull your body weight back up.
Right.
So your hamstrings are getting a lot of work here on the negative, and they're having to contract to pull your body weight up. Now this is definitely more of an advanced exercise. A lot of people might not be able to start out doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So they can still do the negatives though. They can still get the negatives and then have to use their upper body to really push their body back up to get back in place. But the main way to keep this exercise as effective as possible is just keeping your body really straight and try to feel all that tension right on your hamstrings.
Right.
And I swear to you, this is like by far one of the most effective hamstrings for full hamstring development, because it's hit them in a completely different manner than it would like an isolated like prone leg curl machine or seated hamstring curl machine.
Yeah, you can really see your hands working when you're doing it. Now here you're doing a stiff-legged deadlift. You're using just a short range of motion to keep the tension on the hams.
Exactly.
And I also noticed you put your feet up on a plate. What is that for? To get a better stretch?
Yeah, exactly. By stretching the calf right there, it's going to place a position where the hamstrings are having to be recruited a lot quicker in the movement.
Right. And
like you said, I'm working that partial range of motion, so the tension, I'm trying to feel it always, the stretch always on the hamstring, and I'm trying to squeeze the glutes in the way up. But I don't want to. If I come all the way up, then you take the tension off the muscles, And when even if you give it a second to relax and you do 10 to 15 reps, that's 15 seconds of relaxation,
Right.
So a lot of my exercises, I'm always trying to do constant, tension. So time under tension, the more the muscles are under load for the longer periods of time, the more stimulus is going to get, and the more it's going to be, caused to grow. So
right. Okay. And then you're finishing off with a seated leg curl.
Yeah, I just I could finish it up with a prone leg curl as well, but I did a seated just because it's a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I find that I like the seated leg curl better than I do the lying leg curl. I just feel like when you really bring those ankles up underneath you, you can just get an extra squeeze, extra contraction that you might not feel in on a lying leg curl. And,
right.
But like I said, I use this one because it was much closer to the area we were working in.
Okay.
And it's just like a smooth machine, a hammer strength leg curl. It's even on the video you can see when the ankles come back, you can see like a little small area in the hamstring fire at the very end of the movement. And so.
All right, Ryan, and I just want to mention to anybody, if they're interested in reaching you, just go to RyanWatsonFitness.com. And thanks again for joining us in the Iron Asylum for this awesome leg workout. Take care, Ryan.